Multi-Dimensional Geek. I'm Dan. I'm back with my friend Ricky.
Hello.
For part 2 of our Skywalker Saga review. Today, we're watching
The Attack of the Clones, which came out in the year 2002. It continues the story of Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Senator Amidala now, not Queen Amidala.
And the movie starts off with a couple of attempts of assassinating her.
Yeah, and it was from an unknown bounty hunter. At the time, the two Jedis didn't know who attacked her, but then the
Obi-Wan and Anakin get assigned to protect her.
Yeah, and they chase down
an assassin.
Yeah.
They chase down an assassin, and she says that she was hired by a bounty hunter. And because of a dart that she gets shot with, Obi-Wan, who gets sent to track the bounty hunter while Anakin is protecting Senator Amidala, Obi-Wan tracks down Jango Fett.
Yeah.
On the cloners.
Yeah, he tracks them down, and they find out that there is this clone army that a Jedi had requested. Cypher had requested almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, and while he's hunting down Jango, basically Anakin and Senator Amidala go back to Naboo, and a romance starts to kindle.
Yes, a romance starts to blossom between these two young friends, and at first she kind of denies it and says, "Look, you're a Jedi. You know, you're not supposed to have feelings for me," but he kept trying to push the issue.
Yeah, and then he has a vision one night, so they end up leaving Naboo to go to Tatooine because he senses his mother is in trouble.
Yes, and he's very worried about her and stuff like that, and he disobeys orders and just kind of goes on his own accord. And when he gets there, he finds out that she was kidnapped by some Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, so he hunts down the Tusken Raiders, finds his mom, and unfortunately she dies in his arms, which leads to him slaughtering them all.
Yes, and unfortunately I think that's part of the chain of events that leads him to be, you know who, later on in the series, but...
Voldemort?
No, not Baltimore. No, wrong series.
Wait, sorry, he's the
wrong
one
series.
name who should not be named.
Yeah.
But
anyways, so he slaughters them, and meanwhile, something is going on with Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah, he chases Jango Fett to Geonosis, and ends up getting captured.
Yeah, because he was snooping on where Jango was, and he found Mr. Count Dooku and a few of the other separatists.
Correct.
Plotting.
They were plotting to take over 1,000 planets, is what they said. So they wanted to take 1,000 planets away from the Republic.
Yeah, and he tries to send a message to Anakin, but because he's not there, and he's not there in the starship, he does not get the message, and he ends up Obi-Wan ends up getting kidnapped by Count Dooku.
Yep. Anakin finally did receive the message. He's ordered not to go, but Senator Amidala wants to help, and he's been ordered to protect her, so she basically takes him along for the ride anyway.
But unfortunately, as soon as they get there, they themselves are kind of captured, and they end up all three chained up to these columns in the middle of a coliseum, and they were attacked by 3 different weird creatures.
Yeah, some big, huge beasts attack them, and of course they do eventually free themselves. Padme was the one that pretty much freed herself first.
Yeah, and then after they do that and they free themselves, they'll Count Dooku and the other bad guys kind of
they
are.
start sending droids after them
Yes,
first, and then the Jedi show up.
Yeah, the Jedi show up and kind of save their bacon, and led by Mace Windu.
Mace Windu.
And they save their bacon, and it starts the Clone Wars.
Well, yeah, and also Yoda showed up with the clones. And they chase Count Dooku down, and Yoda. Dooku ends up cutting off Anakin's hand, and Yoda ends up having to save Obi-Wan and Anakin, so he doesn't end up preventing Dooku from leaving with the plans for big weapon, is what they describe it as. We all know what it is. You know what it is, Internet.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Count Dooku did escape to his master,
Darth Sidious,
and he revealed the plans to him, and he said everything is going according to plan. And one of the last things we see is two things. First, there is Senator Palpatine and the other senators with a huge army.
Clone army showing up on Coruscant.
And then the last thing, of course, is
the last thing we see Anakin and Amidala. I'll cut that. So the last thing we see in the movie is Anakin and Padme getting married on Naboo.
Yeah. And before that, though, the Mace Windu and Yoda and Obi-Wan are kind of like sensing that there's the dark side coming their way.
Yep, they have a little meeting about it right before they are introducing the clone army.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up the basic fundamental story points for episode 2. And what was your favorite part?
My favorite part, I gotta say, is the lightsaber battle at the end with Yoda and Anakin and stuff. But the first time I saw this, I was really super excited, and I remember I had a lot of questions for Dan and stuff.
I remember we went like 4 hours before the movie started. This was back when you couldn't get reserved seats.
Yeah.
So we waited in line for hours and hours. I had my toy lightsaber. We kind of played around with those. Lots of us friends all together went and saw it.
Yeah. And what is some of your favorite memories or thoughts of this movie?
I mean, that's one of my favorite memories, is actually going to the theater with all our friends and waiting in line. You know, and of course back then we all thought it sucked to have to wait in line, but we just had great times goofing off while we were waiting in line. You know, we were young. I was fresh out of high school. You were fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
And it was great. I mean, back then I really loved the movie. I probably would have given it 4 stars back then.
I don't know if I would have gave it. I don't know if I would have gave it 4 stars back then. I was still kind of relatively new to the Star Wars thing, so I probably would have been like 2.5 or 3. Today, same. I'm about 2.5, almost 3.
I'd definitely give it a 3 now, watching back. I don't think it's quite as good as I remembered it.
No, same here. You know, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it on the rewatch, and you know, not as much as I enjoyed it the first time, but still, it was good.
Yeah, I caught a few things that I didn't catch last time I watched it, but it's been a long time since I've watched this one.
Yeah.
It's at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but it was enjoyable.
And that'll about do it for our second part of our Skywalker Saga review. I want to thank Ricky again for watching the movie with me and
hey, no problem.
giving his thoughts. Stay tuned tomorrow for part 3, episode 3.
Episode 3. It is called Revenge of the Sith, and this one we get a little bit more of a deeper dig into how Mr. Anakin becomes Mr. Big.
Mr. Big.
Yeah.
That's right. So until tomorrow, thanks for watching. If you like the video, hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already. Leave a comment. You can ask us a question. We'll answer it if we can. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram Until tomorrow, make your life more fun by keeping it multidimensional. Catch you later.